Raspberry Pi as fast as possible. Let's go. All right, guys, we're going to check this out. Raspberry Pi as fast as possible. Let's go.
A whole new computer for just 35 bucks?
Yeah, that's about right.
Really? Well, kind of. I'm not quite talking about a desktop or a laptop with all the bells and whistles.
Very small computer.
I'm talking about the little single board computer.
Little?
The Raspberry
I mean, who you calling little, man? I would say the W.
Credit card-sized device with
little.
What really makes the Pi interesting is not only a couple of slots for mounting a small camera and an LCD display.
That's true. A lot of people buy the Pi, and they buy it for colleges, they buy it for little kids, because it's about the cost of a textbook. So buying this and then actually tinkering with something can definitely teach somebody the hardware, software at a very young age. And because of the GPIO pins that come on the Raspberry Pi, it makes for really easy programming and projects. So yes, you are correct, Linus.
Imagine a DIY media stick with more power and flexibility than a Chromecast, thanks to open source media-centric OSs like Kodi, or a dirt cheap home server solution when you connect a USB stick or an external hard drive.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. You have Kodi, you also have Pixel, you have RetroPie, and you have a bunch of other open source software. So once you get the Raspberry Pi, a lot of the software for it is completely free and do it yourself. The other thing he didn't mention is that the Raspberry Pi doesn't need any kind of heat sinks or cooling. On its stock temperature, it can run 24/7 with no issues, thus making it great for long periods of time when you're watching lots of movies, or if you're running your own home server, or some people even use it for Bitcoin mining.
Platform for retro games of all sorts, as open source projects like RetroPie are capable of running games for everything from the Atari to the Nintendo 64. Many users have even gone as far as to build custom enclosures.
Yes, he's absolutely right about this. And if you've seen my channel, that's where the majority of my people come from. You can see me, there's just on my desk right here, I have 4 Raspberry Pis. I don't sell them. I keep them, I do some reviews on them, but you can never have too much Pi, okay? You can play everything from Nintendo, you cannot play all the Nintendo 64 games. Let's make that clear. It's pretty much Atari 2600 to PlayStation 1 minus Nintendo 64 catalog. You can also play a lot of those console games, and this is where the biggest point is that he missed, which is especially MAME games, arcade cabinet games, games that you can only play in an arcade, that you can emulate those really well on a Raspberry Pi. Thus makes for really cheap bar top builds. He mentions enclosures, but I mean, there's people making bar tops, arcades, converting computers, making portable Pi builds. So there's a ton of potential there. And I really think that's where the majority of the sales are myself. When I just look at it and the cost and how many people are interested in it, I think the majority of the sales for Raspberry Pi 3 in particular are coming from those retro gamers.
Linux, but with 10 million Raspberry Pis shipped since its debut in 2012, and
so as of today, it's over 12.5 million as of May 2017. Those numbers are up to 12.5 million, making it the 3rd best-selling computer below the Mac and the PC. Pretty impressive numbers for sure. So Raspberry Pi doing it up. So overall, Linus did a really good job of this video. He definitely covered all of his bases here. The Raspberry Pi is a beautiful work of art. It's HDMI, you can do audio, video, you have the USBs, I mean the USB 3.0, you know, you have so many competitors out there now. You have the Asus Tinkerboard, you have the Orange Pi, you have Banana, all of this stuff out there. Yet none of them come close to the Raspberry Pi. And something he forgets to mention, which is why I think the Raspberry Pi is so popular, is it has so much support behind it. You have all these open source projects fueling the Raspberry Pi. And because of that, the community really made up the majority of the platform. And so it kind of goes to, like, you know, think of like the iOS store or the Google Play Store. You have to get your app developed to those standards for people to find it. I think people realize that the Raspberry Pi is a great platform to build off of. And because of these numbers, it's kind of fueling itself forward. So for those reasons, I don't see the Raspberry Pi going anywhere anytime soon. For those of you interested in the Raspberry Pi 4, it's going to be a while. All the reports I read really show that, you know, as far as the iterations and the Raspberry Pi Foundation, there really is no reason for them to go to the Raspberry Pi 4 when the Raspberry Pi 3 is still selling incredibly well. This buys them time. It lets them keep getting sales. There's just no, from a marketing standpoint, there's no reason to go for the 4 at this time. And I know we all want it. We all want better retro gaming, better performance. That'll eventually happen. But for the time being, the Raspberry Pi 3 is here to stay, and it's still a great single board computer. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys on the next.
If you head out to a restaurant and order a $35 dessert, you might expect the waiter to
Never
bring you
ordered a $35.
more than just a plain slice of Raspberry Pi. But getting this Raspberry Pi for the same price might just end up to be a fantastic deal.
Okay. Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. What kind of pie am I gonna get? Oh, I can't eat that, dude.